And we are live. Hey, Concrete. Hey, girl. No. Okay.
They going, Danny?
Yes.
Can you? Did you hear me? I was saying how is your day going?
Oh, girl. No, I didn't hear you at first. I was like,
Oh, let me turn my headphones up. It was
I
down kind
can
of
hear
low.
you now, though.
Okay. I was asked.
Girl, do you hear this child? Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh. Hello.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
How's your weekend been?
It's going. It's going. It's been pretty uneventful. I've been on the couch for most of it. Um,
Girl,
that's pretty much been it for me.
that sounds like a dream weekend. Like seriously, I've had a busy weekend. I was well all week long. I have been helping my daughter. She was moving out of her apartment into my house for a few months until this apartment that she has been trying to get in is ready. So it's just been a process. So it's been a busy week, a busy weekend, but I'm chilling today. And it's such a beautiful day outside, too.
Yeah, I had to do my Sunday grocery store run, so I got a chance to get out of the house and into society for a minute. What do you think about them opening up outside again? What do you think about that?
Child, first of all, I think it's insane. And I can already tell I went out. I've been kind of going back and forth to my daughter's apartment, just making sure, the apartment was ready for move out and clean and stuff like that. But so I've been noticing, well, starting Friday, I started noticing like a lot more cars on the streets. And today I went out. I generally try to do my grocery shopping on, if I don't do it Saturday, for sure by Sunday too. So I went out to run errands, a few grocery stores, and the stores were crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh. And they've already been circulating videos of Georgia where I think it was a club last night that was like packed to the hilts. Like the nail salons are super packed. Like people are forming
Are you
lines outside of the nails.
serious?
They're forming lines outside of the nail salons like it's Black Friday.
Oh my
Seriously.
gosh.
Yeah. So I'm like, what in the entire world? It's almost as if people want to get infected. Like, I mean, I liken it to a mental illness because what else would possess someone to go out into society knowing that, this deadly virus is out there. People are dying from it every single day. The numbers have not really been declining like that. And you know how we do, child. If it's a party involved or, some sort of maintenance involved, we there.
So do you think that the government is now downplaying the situation like right now? Because I'm looking at it as like, okay, if you're opening up back outside, if you're telling people, hey, we got these services open, that kind of seems like you're saying it's okay to come outside now.
Well,
Just wear
yeah.
your mask.
They are saying that, but we can't. Like, the thing is, we put too much stock into what the government says. Like, we need to be doing our own research. I know so many
Facts.
people, either directly or secondhand, who have been affected by this disease. Like, so many people that have lost loved ones, and I mean, young people too. So we need to be doing our own research. We can't rely on them to say, oh, because if they have the chance, if they could do some population control and send us out there first, child, you think they not? They're gonna be like, okay, open up all the places that
That
black
is
people frequent.
horrible.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
insane. But I don't trust it. I am. In addition, well, for example, for Georgia, when Kemp decided to open, he opened certain businesses on Friday, and then some others will be open on Monday, and then as of May 1st, the stay will no longer the stay. He's going to let the stay expire. So he had like regulations in place. He's saying, okay, well, I'm opening nail salons, spas, hair salons, but you still need to maintain 6 feet distance. You still need to have on, protective equipment. Like, how is that possible if someone is doing your hair or doing your toes? Or it's impossible to
Yeah,
not.
they're not making it make sense
Yeah,
at
at all.
all.
At all.
Yeah, I was like, how is
Yeah. How does that
how?
work?
Yeah, it doesn't
Hmm.
make any sense at all.
So what's going on in Mississippi though? Because are you guys open
Girl,
back up?
we are, I think we are opening back up on Monday. I think we're going to start on Monday. And they even included churches in ours.
Yeah,
So,
and ours too. I'm like, what in the how are you supposed to maintain 6 feet distance at a church? It's asinine to me. Like, it seriously is. I am staying my butt in the house. I'm only going out for essential things. I,
so
am not
but,
gonna be going out.
but this is what's so confusing.
Hmm.
Okay, so you got half the people outside. Like, what? It just doesn't make sense. Like,
Hmm.
you got people going to work like it's nothing.
And that's the
Are
thing.
you
Like,
going to keep the rest of the people in the house? Like, how does that work?
I understood the stay where they were allowing essential workers to be out because, people have to pay their bills and certain businesses have to be maintained, such as hospitals. We have to be able to get food. So I understood the essential worker thing. I feel
Mhm.
like it made sense to basically try to attempt to do a stay for 60 days, allowing essential workers to go out. And of course, those people would need to take special precautions. I know essential workers, nurses, who, when they come in the house, like inside the garage, they're stripping down, they're taking off their, scrubs or whatever. And then they're going, maybe directly to the shower when they get in the house, maybe put on a robe or something like that. And in an effort to kind of try to minimize, contact with their loved ones or exposure to their loved ones. So I understood that, and I thought that, it was a good attempt to try to minimize the spread of the disease. But I just don't understand us opening back up when we haven't seen a steady decline in cases or deaths.
Right, right. That's true. That's
Child,
really true.
what do I know though? But they don't do what they do. Well, hopefully everybody, hey to everybody in the chat, and hopefully you all are taking precautions and trying to minimize your contact with folks, because this is serious. And I've seen all the conspiracy theories, and I know people have their own beliefs regarding it, but when it is affecting, loved ones, or when it's affecting, friends and family of your relatives, or family of your friends, then it's kind of like, ooh, you realize the seriousness of it.
Right, 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 right. So, are we ready to get into this topic, honey?
Let's do it, child. Let's do it.
Okay, so the topic is the problem with short men.
Hmm.
And so we kind of ended up here. I was having a discussion, and I want to say I was on DJ Kuda's panel,
Hmm.
and we were talking about guys having confidence. Does confidence work for the ugly man, the short man, what have you?
Mm.
And so I was arguing that confidence does work.
Hmm.
And, I got a lot of pushback that was saying, like, no, it's just not confidence. And I don't just necessarily think that it's total confidence, but confidence works versus non confidence, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So then, I got to thinking about short guys. And so I ended up asking a question on my Facebook page, and I asked, do women date short men?
Hmm.
A lot of women said no, but a lot of women said yes.
Okay.
Um, and it was more yeses than I actually expected because of the stigma that's put on short men. That because people make it
Hmm.
seem like it's impossible for a short man to get a woman. Well, I don't think that's the case. I think that
Yeah.
if the short man has some shit going for himself, but they say it is not fair because a guy who won the genetic lottery, he can just get the women, but the short man would have to do all the work. Then I kind of feel like that's true too, but I don't know. I just
Okay, but
think
what can you do? I mean, you're born how you're born. Like some women are born with the flat butt, and they may feel like women who have big booties are, at more of an advantage. Or, we can even take it to hair types. A lot of men have an affinity for like a looser curl pattern, and some women are born with a tighter curl pattern. Like, what can you do about it? Um, I mean, other than work with what you have.
so. Have you ever dated a short guy before?
Not shorter than me. My ex was 5'9". I'm
Okay.
5'4.5". So
Oh, me
now I've
too.
never dated a guy shorter than me.
Okay. Okay. Um. I think I did once.
Dated a guy shorter than you.
Yeah. Long time
So
ago.
do you have like a height requirement?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I require that he just be taller than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 5'4.5", so he's
Mm-hmm.
5, and like Curlin's taller than me, so I feel
Mm-hmm.
like just as long as he's taller than me, I'm cool.
Right. And then that's the other thing. When I hear when I hear men talk about this height requirement that women have, and kind of when I hear their complaints, they make it sound as if basically if you're under 6 feet, most women will count you out. And I don't think that's the case, because most men are not over 6 feet.
I
I don't
don't
think
think
that
that's
it's
the case
mhm.
either. I honestly don't think that's the case either. And I kind of feel like a lot of guys will kind of have like a little pity party um
Mm-hmm.
to ignore their own shortcomings, because I've seen women date guys, plenty of guys under 6 feet. Now,
Yeah.
if you're like 4'8", you're probably gonna have problems, and that's accurate, and that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so like what's the cutoff? Because technically if you're under 4'8", I believe you're considered either a little person. I think the cutoff is if you're I have a friend who's 4'11", and I think the cutoff is 4'10". So she's like just over the threshold to be qualified as a midget or a little person.
Yeah. I don't think that the majority of short guys are midgets. And I'm wondering,
Right,
like, what's
right, right.
the average height of short men? That's a really good question. Um,
Yeah, that is a good
but the
question.
average height of men, I think I read, was 5'6", and the average height for women was 5'2". And so,
That's short. That is
that
shorter than I anticipated. Like I would have thought the average height for guys is at least like 5'9". 5'6" is much shorter than I thought. However, that average height of men, that's probably taken everybody into account. And like Hispanics, they're generally shorter. Some Asians are, generally shorter. So that's probably taken all cultures and nationalities, all races into account.
Wait a minute. Let me give a shout out to Kenny Conjo for the Cash App. And also, I missed him last show, DJ Nat for the Cash App. Thank you guys so much. We
Thanks,
appreciate
guys.
you.
Thanks, Brooke, Kenny, and DJ Nath.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just like, I don't really think short guys have the problems that it's like, okay, I feel like if you're
Mhm.
really, really, really short, like if you 5 feet and under, you probably will have problems. But guys over like 5'4", I don't
Mhm.
understand why. I don't get it. I don't get it. And then I
Well,
feel like,
mhm,
let me ask you this question,
mhm.
and this is gonna be fucked up. So that's my disclaimer. Do you feel like a ugly woman is entitled to a guy that would be considered like the master of the universe?
Okay. So from my perspective, like in my opinion, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Okay, because I feel like from a man's perspective, if she has body, then possibly. from
Okay.
I also think like looks are subjective. I mean, most people will agree on somebody being beautiful, but the degree of ugliness, like people may be like, oh, she ain't that bad, whereas some people may be like, no, she butt ugly, you know what I mean, type of thing. So there's like I think that the ugliness is subjective to a degree, but I think people can agree on somebody who's stunningly beautiful, and I think most people will agree on somebody who's just unattractive. So if we're just saying somebody that's just unattractive, that everybody would agree is unattractive, I would say no.
Okay.
What
So,
about you? What do you think?
well, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
she deserves the unattractive woman is probably not going to get the most attractive man. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Most attractive people usually like attractive people, and
Mm-hmm.
it would go to us being shallow. Hold on, just a second.
Okay. While she's doing that, I'm just going to say this. It's kind of funny because you like I see this happen quite often where there's a fine man, like fine, and he's with a woman who is not as physically attractive, and so people are questioning and thinking like, okay, for example, I would do the what's his name, Jesse Williams and his wife. But I see situations like that where you see like a fine man and the woman is or maybe kind of look like a school marm, or he's kind of like, really, he with her. Or even Omari
Probably
Hardwick.
plain, right?
Yeah, even if you think Omari Hardwick and his wife, you know what I mean? Like you're kind of like,
Yes,
even if he wanted to swirl, he could have got somebody that was attractive.
this
So,
is true.
that's a common thing where you see attractive mates with somebody who's unattractive. I understand it from the woman's point of view. You see like these gorgeous women and they're with a guy who may not be attractive, but he might be kind of nerdy, kind of geeky, and you're like, okay, well maybe she benefits from him in some other way. But it's kind of confusing when you see a fine man with a woman that's like,
So I kind of feel like there's some entitlement issues. But then
mm-hmm,
I kind of look at it and I'm saying, okay, if you went and talked to 100 pretty women, right?
mm-hmm,
One of them's
mm-hmm.
bound to say yes, because you would know how to approach them. After trial and error, somebody's bound to say yes at some point. And so I'm like, if somebody's bound to
Well,
say yes,
you know what I've seen happen though, that I think people don't take into account is, and this is referring to the situation where like a fine man is with an unattractive woman or a not so attractive woman. I think that sometimes people have a glow up in the midst of the relationship. Sometimes the guy might have been kind of funny looking, or he might have been considered quote unquote lame, and people weren't checking for him, but he had a glow up in the midst of his relationship with this plain Jane or unattractive woman.
mm, yeah, yeah. I just think it's very interesting because I think it's changed now. I
Mm-hmm.
think men have more dating options than women. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's like if the ball is not in your court, why is it not in your court? Or why do you give the advantage to women because you feel a certain way about yourself? But that's just my thing.
Okay, so I know that you feel as though it's not it's not that it's not as prevalent as men are making it out to be. Um, so, what do you think would possess them to? Why do you think that they're making it out to be something bigger than it is if they aren't facing the rejection that they say they are?
Um, I've seen a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people put something off on another person as opposed to trying to understand why they attracted this person in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, if you're awkward or you're whatever, if you're because, and don't get me wrong, looks and attraction does play a big part, and that does play a big part. So I'm not excluding that. I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't have a basis or a bias here. Yeah, absolutely. But if you have somebody that is short, and I would look at Prince, and I thought Prince was a wonderful example. I looked
Mm-hmm.
at Prince's the picture in our thumbnail. Prince looks
Mm-hmm.
like a little goofy guy, real
Right.
goofy looking. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
but Prince had the
Oh
baddest
yeah, some of the most beautiful
face
women.
according to a lot of men. So I'm
Right.
saying, like, if Prince little short, scrawny ass can sit up here and pull these women, how did Prince do this? He
Well,
wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth, was he?
well, they're gonna say it's because he was talented. He's Prince. He was successful. He's Prince. That's what people gonna say. He's
Well, let
Prince.
me ask you a
So,
question. Is everybody born with a talent?
I think everybody is born with the abilities. However, some of us don't, realize our potential. So I think, like, let's say, okay, I know people who, like, maybe you could draw, but you never tried it, or you only doodle a little bit and you didn't practice, and kind of. I think that for most people, there's not this inherent superstardom. You have to work hard to get to that level, and a lot of people have untapped potential, is my belief. But another example of someone would be, what about Spike Lee? Spike Lee's real short.
Short.
Yeah.
And Spike Lee is a little asshole. Do you really think Spike Lee had problems getting women all his life? And I'm saying, like, even when he didn't have money. And I would say Spike Lee probably had women before he had money, because it was an attitude, there was a vibe there about Spike Lee.
You think so?
Yeah,
I
I
don't know,
really do.
because, yeah, and that's possible. When I think Spike Lee, like, even when I think like early days Spike Lee, like the oh my gosh, I can't think of it, but like the clothing line that he had, and he when he was first getting out of college, and he was doing the She's Gotta Have It, and that, like, he seemed like he had a little bit of something to him, like he had a little swag, quote unquote, for lack of a better word, about himself. So it is possible that
Yeah.
he wasn't striking out with the ladies.
Yeah, and then the short guys, I got a couple, quite well, about a good five or six that responded, and a lot of them say they don't have problems with women. They don't have problems at all.
Mm.
They're not superstars. They don't have an enormous amount of money. At least they don't flash it if they do. But they say they've never had problems with women. I had a short guy on there who said, well, matter of fact, I think I've done better than some of the taller guys I know.
Wow. You
Yeah.
know what? I have to say this. It has to be said. I think that if you shorten, you fine, you really, it can make up for it, just as if you're short and you're successful. So even if okay, we talked about Prince and Spike Lee, and they have amassed this, these levels of success, which most people in the chat have not. However, one thing that um, that could potentially still take you to a next level would be if you shorten, you fine. Like, yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
because we're just being honest, Black women are, we pay attention to physical, like that's um generally kind of how we move. So if you short and you fine, just as if you short and you confident. Like, I do think that confidence goes a long way. Like, I love a confident man. Like, it's kind of off-putting when I meet a man who lacks confidence, and I'm um conversing with him or something. I'm kind of like, he, as a woman, we look for that dominant trait, that dominance in a man. Not that we want to be dominated, but we do look for a certain level of dominance in a man, and you got to be confident.
True. Very true. So, are we ready to drop the link?
Let's do it.
Oh gosh. Let me say hey to thing. And then open this thing up, honey. And I'm wondering,
But I do think I see certain women. hmm
go ahead. I'm listening. I'm sorry.
I do see certain women who say, they are very adamant about not dating men under a certain height. But I have to admit, most of the women that I know who have those requirements are tall women, like very tall,
Yes.
statuesque women. They might be kind of like, one woman in particular that comes to mind, a friend of mine. It's like she's kind of like statuesque. She's a tall, thick woman, and she, a woman wants to. I think there's also something to be said about being with a man who is bigger, taller, that makes you feel secure too. So that could be a part of it as well.
Mm. Well, we have BMT and Obsidian here. Hey, fellas, how you guys doing?
Hey y'all.
What's going on? Happy Sunday to y'all.
Happy Sunday.
What's going on with this disingenuous talk that y'all are having right now?
Oh gosh.
Right.